Hi, and welcome. My name is Amber McAuley, and I'm the author of A Map to Limitless Parenting. I put together this little webinar to support people in learning some strategies for creating optimal family wellness. I'd like to start off by thanking you for being here. I know how busy life can get, and it's awesome that you've taken this time to learn and explore some new ways of riding life's stressors. Over the next few minutes, we're going to touch on the following objectives. We'll explore some common parenting myths. We'll look at the ruminating mind and how it can impact our physical, our emotional well-being, as well as our relationships. I'll guide you through a body scan practice, and we'll finish with a few of my favorite effective communication tools. It's important that you pay attention because at the end of our webinar, I'll tell you how your insights can turn into money. Get ready. I would have sent you by email a fill-in-the-blank handout as well as the PowerPoint slides. So please do take notes throughout the webinar. For those of you who don't know me, I wear several hats in my life. I'm the proud mother of a daughter, a published author, a successful businesswoman, and I get to collaborate with some of our nation's greatest leaders on mental health initiatives. My passion for working in this industry was born out of me surviving a lot of turbulence related to anxiety and depression. At one point in my life, I almost died by suicide, and it was a miracle that I survived. But I decided that if I could learn some strategies to help myself, then I would dedicate my life and career to sharing these insights with others. And if I could help just one child, one family through sharing my own experiences and what I learned, then it would all be worth it. And that's what I've been doing for over 10 years now. A big part of my success as a woman and as a mother is because I've learned how to reach out to community, to connect with family, to connect with neighbors, to connect with resources. And it goes back to that old saying that it takes a small village to raise a child. There's actually a law of physics that speaks to that. It says that our combined efforts are greater than the sum of our individual parts. So if you put 5 people together who can pull at max 100 pounds on a rope, and you bring them to combine their efforts, together they can exceed pulling 500 pounds, which I think is pretty cool. So it's very important for us as individuals to work together collectively to support not only family well-being, but community well-being. Over the years, I've heard some common parenting myths that I like to blow up. The first one is people often think that if their parents weren't good role models, then they can't be good role models as parents. And that's not true. I know some people who had really poor role models for parents growing up, and they do really well themselves with their own family unit. And the reverse is true, where I know people who struggle a lot, even though they've had some great parents when they were growing up. The other myth is that you can't have a career and raise a healthy family. It's true, you might be a little busier juggling the two, a career and a family, but with good time management, you can make it happen. And I know plenty of people who do. The other myth is that some people think it takes a lot of time to raise healthy families. And I know many people who cut corners. And I'd like to share that the more corners you cut, the more time you're actually going to spend putting out fires in the long run. So if you invest a little bit of extra time on a daily basis, then it can save you time in the long run. The fourth myth is that parents think if they had the right tools, then they could control their kids and everything would be great. Well, I can say from my experience that there is no toolkit, no strategy that works every time. There's nothing that guarantees we'll be able to have a perfect communication with our kids. And I always argue to say that, would you want to control your kids and your family and your relationships? I know for my daughter and I, some of our greatest memories together are born out of when things didn't go as planned. And these make for the greatest bonding moments. The last one that I'd like to bust is that it costs a lot of money to raise healthy and happy kids. When I had my daughter, I was 18 years old. I was a high school dropout, and her father and I lived on our own, working odd jobs, struggling to pay the bills. But we had a lot of love in the family. We reached out, we had a lot of support from our extended family, and we were able to raise a very happy young lady on a minimal budget. So those are some common parenting myths, and I'd like you to look at any limiting beliefs that might hold you back as a parent. Do you ever think that you're completely unable to deal with your child's behavior? Do you ever notice yourself feeling guilty and blaming yourself for not doing it better? What are your unhelpful patterns? And can you reframe them into more empowering statements? I like to invite people that I work with to be their own devil's advocate. So for example, if you notice negative thinking around, oh my gosh, this is a complete mess and it's never going to change. Perhaps it would be more empowering to think, okay, this situation is a challenge and I'm going to tackle it by taking one step this afternoon. However small that step is, to shift out of that limited negative thinking and adding in a little empowerment of a little step can really help make a shift in the function of your relationships in the family. A lot of these limiting thought patterns can become almost like a snowball going down the hill, growing and growing and growing. And we get into this ruminating mind of shooting on ourselves. I should have done this, I shouldn't have done that, or shooting on others. They should be acting this way, or they shouldn't be acting that way. And we get caught up in past thinking, rehashing things that have already happened, or we're hopping into the future and worried about what could happen and catastrophizing thoughts. If your energy is in a ruminating mind, it's almost like you're top heavy, like a triangle trying to balance in this way. When you pause and ground yourself in the present moment, it's like you flipped the triangle. And one of the best ways to flip your triangle, to get out of the ruminating mind and to stabilize, is by doing a body scan. So that's what I'd like to guide you through at this time. So wherever you are, set aside your pen, your paper, make sure your cell phone is turned off, and just take a moment to get into a comfortable seated position. Maybe give your shoulders a roll, take a few deep breaths. Allow your hands to rest wherever they're comfortable. And either soften your gaze or close your eyes. Shifting your attention from the busyness of your day and wherever you've been to being here right now. Feel your body on a chair, support below. Notice your breath. You don't need to breathe in any special way. Your body knows how to breathe. Simply observe the breath as it comes in and enters the body. And observe the breath as it leaves the body back out through the nose. And you might notice that the body becomes fidgety, or the mind gets distracted. And this is perfectly normal. an opportunity when you notice to smile and kindly redirect your attention back to the moment, observing the breath, and observing how the breath connects into the body. Now shift your attention into your feet. Just notice sensations in your feet. And there's no right or wrong sensation. You might notice warmth, coolness, tingling, numbness. Some sensations might be comfortable, some may be uncomfortable. And for now, can you observe the sensations without any expectations? Then shift your attention into your lower legs. Scan your knees, upper legs, hips. Feel the back of your torso, lower back, middle back, upper back. Feel the front of your torso, lower abdomen, lower rib cage, upper chest, collarbones. And scan your hands. Feel sensations in the lower arms, elbows, upper arms, shoulders. Feel the circumference of your neck, face, scalp. And begin to take a few deeper breaths. Scan your whole body from head to toe, front to back, side to side. And then shift your attention now back to the screen. And reflect on how you feel right now. And observe how you feel without judgment. So sometimes when we are experiencing conflict in our relationships and in our families, and we get into those limited beliefs, we engage in that ruminating mind, it's normal for all of us. Taking the time to scan the body can really help anchor us in the moment so that we can proceed with a conversation, so that we can problem solve, and so that we can be more gentle. When we are denying what's happening in the moment and we're ruminating, thinking out into the future, off into the past, it creates this separation between us and ourselves or between us and our relationship. And this is very limiting. If we go back to that law of physics, if we're separate, working individually, then it's limiting us in our potential. When we're feeling denial, separation, and limited, it creates this abundance of worry, anxiety, fear. And then we're off balance, just like that upside down triangle. So checking in with yourself, being in the moment and accepting it, it changes the flow. It creates this connection with ourselves, a connection with the people that we're relating with, and then we have limitless potential. We can collaborate with other people on looking at options. We can ask for help, and we have limitless possibilities as to how we're going to move forward. When we're feeling that acceptance, connection, and limitless potential, it builds trust and bridges in our relationships. And then we feel more stable, we feel more confident and capable of moving forward. So around communication and connecting with our loved ones, I heard a few years ago that if my communication tools aren't working, then it's an indication that I'm talking too much. I need to shut my mouth and open my ears. And that was almost like an aha moment for me. Because up until that point, I used to think that communication was all about me saying the right thing. And if I could say the right thing, then I could get people to listen and I would get resolution. But often, if what we're saying isn't working, it's because we aren't listening. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So based on that ratio, it might make sense for us to listen twice as much as we talk. But these days, there are so many barriers that prevent us from effectively listening. It could be physical barriers, emotional barriers. A lot of us are multitaskers. We cram so many things into our day, which creates a very hoppy brain, multitasking, and that is a barrier to being available and listening. Some of us might have environmental barriers. If a room looks anything like the image here on the slide, then that can distract us from being available to listen. And then there's always our own triggers. What people are saying might be triggering us. Our kids might be coming to us with these stories or these challenges that are triggering our own life experiences that we might not have dealt with. We might have anger arise or strong emotions arise, and that can prevent us from being available to listen to our loved ones. So a strategy that I share with people I'm working with to help with these barriers is to stop. The stop technique represents the following steps. The first one is to stop. Notice if you're engaging in a ruminating mind. Notice if you're having a hard time listening, and just stop. Take a few deep breaths. It's amazing how taking 3 to 5 deep breaths can prevent us from reacting in a way that creates more challenges. Then open your senses and observe your environment. So take an inventory of what's going on around you. And this really brings you into the moment. Notice what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste. Bring your whole being with all of your senses into the here and now. And based on what you notice, make a plan as to the most effective way to move forward. Is there anything that you need? Is it rest? You need to talk. You need to exercise. You need to be still. Once you take an inventory of what's happening, the barriers that might be preventing you from connecting, express your needs and honor your needs. Create that acceptance, connection, limitless potential, trust, and balance. When you deny what you need in the moment, then you get the denial, separation, limits, worry, and the wobbliness. So I'd like to start winding down and remind you that you are a great parent. Just you being here and exploring this webinar shows that you have this inclination to support yourself and to support your family. There's no perfect parent, and there's no perfect way of having a family. Honor your individuality, honor your uniqueness, and celebrate that with one another. Be almost like a purple cow. Stand out from the crowd and express your true colors. Surf the wave and role model this in your community. I'd love to stay in touch with you. If you could email me any questions or insights from this webinar, then I'll give you a $50 gift certificate. And you can use this gift certificate towards any of my online courses or in-person classes. I'll email it to you within 24 hours and we can get started. Thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck and look forward to hearing more about your journey. Have a wonderful rest of your day.